My first tour was Mexico. It was the weirdest thing because, you know, I had to kind of make a lateral move because back to back was making good money. And so I says, well, how am I going to do this? And so I was the person booking the gigs. I had to get a tight band. I said, we got to cut a record. So we went in, well, I still call them records, cut a CD. Then I just went crazy sending it out everywhere. I think about 2 months after we cut the CD and it was released, I got a call from Guadalajara, Mexico. And they says, we'd like you to come, will you send us an offer? I sent them an offer that was like more than I thought. I just wanted to see what happens. And they says, okay, we'll accept and we'll be sending you tickets, here's the dates. And I did a 10-day tour in Mexico. I came back from Mexico, within a month I opened for B.B. King.
No.
At the Fox Theater. This is in my first year of playing.
You know, I really like your voice, and you're a great showman. You know, if a lot of the audience want to go out and see J.C. Smith, he's a, you know, he's a show stomper, and you know, like we talked about B.B. King, we talked about Albert King, we talked about that. You know, you want to be yourself, but where do you see yourself in about, you know, as far as in the blues scene right now? Where do you see yourself, and what is it that you want to do?
I want to keep working because I know I'll never retire because I talked to my old friend Eddie Shaw about that. And me, him, and Hubert Sumlin were sitting around talking one day, and he says, this is just something that you do till you die or until something happens where you can't do it anymore. So I just hope every year it gets a little better and a little bit bigger, and I hope I can step up to hopefully be like some of the cats that carried on the music for so long, like BB and Hubert and Freddie was for as long as he was here, and Albert, you know, like those are my favorites. And then, you know, some of my favorite guys are the friends I grew up with, like Chris Kane and Tommy Castro and guys like that. And I just hope the music keeps perpetuating, and I'm instrumental in helping that and educating kids. You know, we just started this blues society a little while back, and they're doing education, we're doing seminars, we're doing a lot of stuff, so I'm really involved with that now.
I know you told me.
Are you signed with any label right now?
No, Cosmic Records, that's my label. I've been doing that for a while. I just signed with a artist management group, and they're called Creative Artist Development, and they're really great people. It's taking a while, but they're getting the ball rolling slowly, and they also have a little indie label, and we're thinking about releasing on that. I want to see how it's going for a bit.
Hey, pretty baby, hold on just a minute, can I have...
What is it that you see in the future that would separate you from all the other guitar players? Do you think it's like, I mean, like you had Stevie Ray Vaughan, you had Jimi Hendrix, you had all these guys. They all had a signature voice. And this is what I always told you when I met you. I said, you know, JC, you got a wonderful voice. You know, let's talk about a little bit of, you know, you growing up. Did you grow up in a church where you sang, or did that just come natural? That's an interesting topic.
It's a strange thing how this happened. When I was a kid, I had a voice, and I didn't use it because I listened to James Brown all the time. But then I realized later, James Brown wasn't actually screaming as much. He sang those notes. He could sing in high E. You know, I got in the choir in the 8th and 9th grade, and you know, I got a little training, and we would do all the choir stuff, and we sang. And I had a girlfriend. We were the tallest ones in the back, except for a guy in the middle. So we'd sing and we'd hold hands behind the guy. So that was that. But then, you know, years later, I started smoking cigarettes and other things. You know, and my voice, I didn't play for 12 years. So, you know, I got the Joe Cocker without singing voice. It was bad, you know, and I couldn't hear pitch, and I had a terrible voice. And so I just didn't bother until I saw my buddy Chris. Now, this is amazing. Chris Kane, he's one of the great guitar players in the area. And Chris wasn't singing much. And all of a sudden, and Chris was a skinny little guy with big hair. All of a sudden, he came out with this deep voice, and he was just singing, and he was doing all this phrasing to get his notes, and it blew people's minds. How could he do this? You know, where did this voice come from? And then after looking at Chris, I go, well, if Chris can do it, because he wasn't doing it at first, I can do it. So I just had to develop a style. But it was the funniest thing for a long time. I sounded like Chris, because we were laughing about that a few days ago, that I started kind of sounding like him until Tommy says, why you sound like Chris? You need to sound like yourself. And this is what my future thing is, always, is to sound like me. And I've been lucky enough to keep my ears. The studio where I produce, Tiki Studios, Grady, you know, I've known him since I was 15 years old, and I've seen a lot of people get ear damage. I've seen a lot of people do a lot of different things. And he tells me how blessed I am every day to have $1 million ears, is what he calls them. And so I'm able to hear things, and I'm able to help people with pitch. This is like when I'm playing golf. I play like crap, but I can tell somebody how to hit a ball, you know. So my style was just developed off, if I can't hit the note, phrase up to it and learn different things. And I still don't think I have. I tell people that. I think my voice, I'm not happy with my voice, but I'm happy with some things I do when I'm doing it. And it's always the playback. Just like in the studio, the playback always knocks you for a loop. But I'm happy. I go to the NAMM show every year, and that's where I picked up other endorsements, Ford endorsements, and you know yourself that you know, it's the place for a musician to go if they're trying to get some stuff done. Well, basically, one time, me and Robert, the bass player of mine, were in the basement, because we always basement shop first for the last day cheap buys, and this lady, this pretty Japanese lady, goes, "You need to try this," and she handed us a little sample of this cream. And we're like, "What is this?" You know? And so it's called guitar hands, and you wipe it on your fingers, and you know, guitar playing, you get calluses and cracks. I got sliced off part of a finger from playing so much, and you know, as I play 4 or 5 days a week, you know, usually, and so we put this stuff on, and it just smooths. It's got this pH balance stuff that smooths your skin. Your fingers don't get hung up. And I'd like to actually give you some if you like. It's called cool. Guitar Hands. And then lo and behold, a motorcycle riding friend of mine I hadn't seen for a long time, and I ran into him at a bad event, which somebody had passed away, and we just started talking. He goes, "Well, give me your card." And he goes, "I forgot you're a guitar player." He gives me his guitar, and I go, because we looked for him 2 years in a row. This was 3 years ago when we got this, and we couldn't find him. And he happens to be the rep for them. And so he sent me a bunch of it, and so I think I'm set for a couple of years with it. But I'd like you to try it. It's really cool. I'll try it. You know? And any guitar player out there, it's not anything that's a miracle, but it will make your hands feel a lot better, and it'll make you slide across the strings a lot easier without getting hung up on the frets and stuff.
What would you like to tell to your fans about J.C. Smith? What would be the most important aspect of your life? Because you know this is going to be forever. What would you like to tell your fans?
First of all, I want to say thank you for your support and enjoying what I do and what I love to do and my passion. It's very important for me to exchange the energy with you in a positive way, because that's all this music thing to me is about. It's a positive energy exchange, and we get to give it to you and you get to give it back to us, and that's a gift to God. You can't get any better than that. So I hope that I can do that for a long time for you, at least the rest of my days on the planet, and the recordings will live on. So hopefully you guys will get much joy as I do playing for you guys, that you guys get back to me as far as listening.
Well, JC, it's a God bless you, and thank you so much for coming on Kings of the Blues. I'll tell you one thing, brother, you're blessed. Hey, Brad, it's nice to meet you, man. Welcome to Kings of the Blues.
Jeff, how you doing, brother?
So tell us about J.C. Smith, brother.
J.C. Smith, you know, I've been playing with J.C. since, God, we've been going back about 25 years with different other bands, and he's one of the greatest cats, just all around great musician. He's got contacts, he does everything right. You know, we've been together, like I said, for many years. We did a couple of albums. He says, do some horn parts, I do some horn parts. He says, do a step, I do a step. You know, we feed off of each other because we've been playing so long.
Tell us what instrument you play.
I play saxophone. I play drums.
You're the drummer, and you're the
bass player.
And you guys are both brothers, right?
Yes.
Okay, so hey, your name is Donnie, right?
Yes.
So Donnie, tell us something about JC.
Oh, talk about JC?
Yeah, talk about JC.
I wanted to hear good things about JC. You should have gave me a few days.
Okay.
I met JC about 8 years ago, I guess. We had both volunteered to do a benefit, right? And we had never met before, and
I hadn't played in about 5 or 6 years. And we got together and we rehearsed a little bit for this benefit. He asked me that day if I wanted to be in his band, and I said no. And then he said, well, check out my website and see what you think after that. I looked at his website. He was doing a lot of stuff. And I went out and sat in with his band in Monterey, and that was 8 years ago, and I've been in the band ever since. And it's been a real good time, and it's because I basically haven't been able to find a better gig. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, this is a real good gig to have.
So tell us about JC, what's your experience with JC?
Being in the band's like being in a giant circus. I mean, it's always something going on. About 5 years with the band now, a little over 5 years. He has made so many things happen out in the Bay Area, though. He has taken us to play with all our heroes. We back up everybody that comes through town, or we're on the bill with them. And the guy's always doing something. Whether we're doing community events or the major festivals, we back up major artists that come through town. So it's been really good.
We're going to play with Patti LaBelle in a couple weeks.
Yeah, he was telling us that. So, you know, it's really kind of, one thing I want to ask you guys is that what's it like being brothers and playing in a band together? What's it like being brothers and playing in J.C. Smith's band?
For me, it's the best thing. It's my favorite drummer. I've known him for all his life, at least. Every once in a while, I catch a stick in the back of the head if I'm not locked in, but for the most part, it's the best thing for me. It's one of the perks about being in the band.
You know, when I started playing, I was in bands with my brother, and you know, he's got a family and he's been married for quite some time. And I went the other route. I toured and I did all that other stuff. But you know, when I got in JC's band, I invited him out to play a little bit, and he finally ended up in the band. You know, and I can't think of any bass player I'd rather be in a band with. No offense to other bass players out there, but he's very trainable.